try this one more time, and if not, we can reschedule. So hopefully he's getting these invitations to this. So yeah. He's already tagged in it. There we go.
We figured it
Hey,
out.
we got it.
We got it.
Thank you for joining me today on Burn the Wagon, man. Thank you.
Thank you.
Like I was saying, I had a couple of people shout you out, so definitely had to hit you up.
Okay. Thank you so much.
And I seen the work that you're going up to do in PA, so I definitely wanted to talk about that stuff too.
Yeah. Hold on a second. No, you're good. Hold on a second. I can't hear it. The only way this would work is I jumped on the phone. And then I send you a
Oh
little
yeah,
text.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, it doesn't work on anything else usually.
Oh, okay, good. All right. Now we know for next time.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so let's start it off. So thank you for joining me on Burn the Wagon. Where we're here to defeat capitalism, colonialism, fucking patriarchy, whatever it is, that European stuff brought over. So go ahead and introduce yourself, Art Priest Martinez, where you're from, and the tribes you represent.
Oh, okay. So I am technically Priest Martinez. The R is because Facebook wouldn't let me use my real first name. They said it's not a real first name. So I am from Redwood Valley, California, from the Little River Band of Poma Indians. And I'm also Wapu from Alexander Valley. Band of Poma Indian, band of those Indians. But anyway, so um, I come from Redwood Valley, Santa Rosa, Lake County, Mendocino County. I definitely been around the areas a whole lot and met a lot of people. So I work right now technically for Northern Circle Indian Housing Authority. I also am a part of Hilltop Recovery Services, Tribal Health, CIMC Board. Let's see, the state homeless board. I definitely do a lot of work in the community, and plus I'm the community leaders gathering youth advocate that we do the youth events in Lake Mendocino County because we believe that all three of our counties should be supportive of each other, and we definitely should look towards our future, the seventh generation, which we are in now. You know, some people have different interpretation, but I believe the seventh generation is now, and we need to educate, and support as much as possible to our youths that are living now, because we definitely have a big change coming ahead. Also, what I do is I do a lot of therapy for treatment for people that come out of prison, because I've been there. I know how it feels. I
Okay.
know what it is not to have anything. I walked out of prison 3 years ago with not $1 on me, and I had to figure out a way to be on my own. So
Wow.
yeah, definitely know how the struggle is out there. And I was sent to this rehab out there at Hilltop, where I'm part of the services, and I just sold my character. I definitely just showed my loyalty in a different way. I've had a past, but I really believe in my past is my experience, and it's going to teach the next person. Um, I don't believe I am anybody that's important. What I believe is I am a human being that is sacred, divine, and spiritual. And I'm just like everybody else is here on earth. And I believe everything has a purpose, everything has a reason, and our purpose is just to figure it out in life nowadays. Um, so definitely, I will just start off with I grew up in Windsor, California. I grew up as my grandmother taking care of me. One of the greatest things that ever happened to me was learning love and compassion from her. And that's where you see now I take everything that she taught me, and I just didn't want it to be wasted because she taught me how to show respect. She taught me how family values. She taught me all these things. But when she passed away is when I became definitely a negative spirit, I will say, because I got involved in everything that I wasn't supposed to get involved. You know, the path. I ran off the path for a little bit, and I
Yeah.
became like the little negative school kid. I didn't like school. You know, I didn't like my family. I didn't like anybody around me, and I got into groups of people. I'm gonna say gangs. I'll just say groups of people, because back then it wasn't gangs. In my era, the gangs in Santa Rosa didn't come out until that movie's Colors came out. It was crazy how that happened. It's just like that weekend Colors came out that Monday. Everybody was wearing red and blue. But anyways, I stayed out of that. Yeah, it was hilarious watching that growing up. But I definitely knew that I had some part of me learning from my grandmother teachings of my culture, because my grandmother
Uh-huh.
died of cancer. And so what she did is the last month before she passed away, she took me in the room. She goes, I need to tell you everything. I grew up in Christianity. Or no, I grew up Catholic. I grew up catechism, and everything that they said that now that we know now that it's not for me, and what I know now it's not for me. And she taught me everything about culture, because she hid it inside of her for so long. But when she was passing away, she says, I have to give this to you, because you're my oldest grandchild, and you need to pass this on to the next generation. So I definitely had a grandfather also that came around and taught me a lot of things. He taught me a lot of the lessons, and he taught me a lot of culture. He only came and gone a lot. And then my grandmother passed away, and I got to meet I grew up as my mom is my aunt. So it was kind of weird when I grew up. They're like, that's your mom. And I was like, no, that's my aunt. Like, no, that's not my mom. So I end up going, living with her. And I'll just say this. I love my mom to death. I love every lesson she taught me in my life. It might have been struggles. It might have been hard. There might have been things that were negative, but um, as a child, we don't ever give up on our parents. We don't ever give up. We don't believe that that's the way things are supposed to be. We'll figure it out later on in life, and that was me. I grew up with good lessons, hard lessons, but good lessons. It gave me the ability to walk out here on the streets and say, you know what, I'm a confident person. I know what the struggle is like. I know what it is to be without water in your home. I know without electricity, without food. I remember one time, and I tell this story over and over because everybody has a point where, it's just that moment where, dang, it was that low. I remember one time we had no food. We didn't even have oil. And me and my friends went across the street, and they went in this house to get VCRs and all this stuff. And I went into the refrigerator and grabbed meat. That's how hungry I was. Yeah. The struggle's real.
Yeah.
The struggle is real, but it's one of those lessons that you learn and you appreciate. I appreciate a lot of things that are here, that are given to me now. I appreciate life. I appreciate women are the life givers, and I just got to give it to them. I grew up in a world where women were the leaders, where women were the ones comforting us, taking care of us. My aunts, my mom, and men kind of were the negative drinkers and all that, and they wanted to teach hard lessons. But and I always got to say that, because the women are super important. We can't forget the women in our lives. Our mothers, our aunties, our grandmothers, our daughters, our girl cousins. We just can't forget them. It's super important to me. And that's something that drives me. They're the ones that taught me to be the way I am now. Nothing but women. And I learned that the men in my life, they taught me what not to do. And I'm not saying nothing bad with it, but they did teach me what not to do with my children, my nieces and nephews. And I'm fine with that, because things are changing nowadays. Things are definitely changing in today's society, to where the men are stepping up again. They're stepping up and being supportive of women. They're being supportive of the youth. They're being supportive of our community. And that's what the end result is, that we're gonna change the stereotype. We are definitely gaining momentum of, you know, where we're going again with our purpose, you know, especially with culture. You know, culture was told, we were told it's stripped, it's not supposed to be practiced, you know, this is the culture you're supposed to practice, but it's not like that. You know, our great ancestors, they taught, and they hid these things in songs, they hid these things in teaching in the roundhouses and anywhere you go, you know, and you know it's coming back. I believe it's coming back for a purpose and a reason, and I feel comfortable saying it out there, you know, like you know, I have to practice my ways, you know, in order for me to have that connection with grandfather, you know, with the creator, you know, you got to have that connect, find that way. And you know, I will never judge. That's one thing I was taught as a youth. Like you're never supposed to judge anybody else. Everybody practices it in a different way. So I totally understand. And then when you talk about these issues that we're going through as indigenous people, because that word settles for me, it makes me happy that I'm indigenous to the land. You know,
Hmm.
I'm not a fan of the word Indian because I'm not from India. I'm not a fan of
Yeah.
native because I'm not native to this place. This is where my ancestors were, you know, before colonizations came in, you know, we had our own interpretations of things, right? And they're coming back, and that's what I really believe in. And I'll just say for myself right now, growing up, you know, I grew up with a bunch of women that supported me so much and made me who I am. And I also grew up with a lot of brothers and sisters. They might not have been my real brothers and sisters because I'm an only child, but that's the value that I have now. And you know, we have things that are said like, "Oh, keep your circle small," and you can't. That's stopping you from branching out in this world, from seeing what's beautiful people are. We're not perfect. We are definitely
Yeah.
so far from perfect it hurts, right? So I really believe in, like, you got to give it a chance, you got to take a healthy risk, you know. I'm all about wellness. I'm all about advocating for the youth. I'm all about protecting the women. I'm all about, you know, protecting the elders, and I'm all about, you know, experiencing, you know, what we go through with other men, my age group, you know, because I believe we can rise with each other. I shouldn't be able to push another man up. I should be able just to help him, like, hey, this is what I can support you in, you know. But I could go all day long, so I know we have some questions, and I think we got a time limit today, you know. But definitely for my introduction, I really appreciate you having this, because these are platforms that we need to have in order to educate, in order to put it out there, in order to say, look, these are discussions that we hold in our head, but we don't talk about these things, you know, and it's time to bring them out. You know, of course, we're going to have negative feedback. No problem.
Yeah.
You know, but it's up to me how I feel about those comments, and that's what I
Yeah.
don't want to do. You know, is add to it, but I got to say what's on my mind. You know, and you'll find a lot of people will say those things that are on their mind, and I'm fine with that. But I may feel a different way. I just got to say it myself. And we need to say these things on these platforms, utilize Facebook, utilize social media, and turn things the way we need to turn, because life's got to change. You know, that's one thing that's consistent in this world is change. You know, and we got to
Yeah.
revolve with it instead of being so negative about it, right? You know, social media, I mean, media on TV is terrible, but you know what? Get what you can out of it. Or if you don't like it, don't watch it. You know what I mean? If it bothers you, don't do those things. But I'm one of those ones that says, look, I got to find balance in today. I got to find balance with my culture. I got to find balance with working, living today, because we can't foliage right now. It's not a foraging, you know, type of living. We have to earn money, have houses, pay taxes, and do all these things, right? It's not my
Yeah.
culture to do that, but we adopted it for right now until we figure this out. And
Yeah.
that's what the concept I understand when you talk about the things that are negative towards our land and our teachings and the issues that we're going through today. We can't just close our minds to those things. We got to open them, saying, you know what? Well, let's find the answer to these things, because people have opinions, but it's not the opinions that are going to fix things. It's having an open mind and say, well, let's keep thinking. Let's keep failing at things until we figure out how to do it, you know, and that's the type of person I am. So we'll start out with your first question or your second.
Yeah. Dude, that was an amazing introduction, man. Wow. so much going on in there. I loved it. Thank you for that introduction. Thank you so much. You said so many things that just hit home and that are perfect for this exact platform. You know what I mean? Um, I was like, I had some notes I should have taken during that, but I was like, but we'll start with my first question. Well, so okay, the red roads that you've been doing, and then you said you do a lot of work with the youth. I wanted to talk about that. So how long have you been sober?
So I've been sober 6 years. We'll say, we'll say because I don't keep the dates. I didn't believe in that because I learned from one person that says you just make a decision not to do those things no more. Our culture says, like, if it's not working for you, you just stop doing those things. You know what I mean? So I was taught by one man that in the end, he's like, I got 45 years. And I was like, oh, okay, you did keep a date. He goes, no, I'm just telling you, like, it's been 45 years. I don't keep a date, but I made the decision. And that's what gave me structure to say, you know what, just stop doing what's negative. You know what I mean? Like I said, I had a thing in prison where I was super negative. I was probably one of and I'm not going to say the worst people in society, but I was up there. People know me from my past, but people knew that I was a good person. They're like, wait it out. I mean, my family waited it out. They're like, one day you're going to turn back. Even my friends, I still have the same friends. I still have the same
Uh-huh.
family. I just gained more now by turning myself around. So what Red Road did for me is it turned me into seeing a path what creates with my culture that I understand. Because when you give me other platforms, I don't understand what those are. I don't know how you could see sobriety with those things. I could see it with Red Road because you just do it and you practice your culture. You talk about those things, but you talk about it with the people and you leave it there. That's what Red Road does for me. And so when I go out there and I do Red Road, I do it so I could tell them my story, and I do it so they can get a positive influence on it. And I try to grab the other people in new stories because some people take a little bit longer to get it. I did, right? It took me at least 30 years to get it. I think I got sober at the age of 42. You know what I mean? Yeah. You know what I mean? But you know what? I'm hoping that my kids in the next generation gets it even sooner. You know what I mean? I hope I learn it from my experiences, and that's basically why I do Red Road. I do it because people ask for something that's culture based, and that's easy culture based meditation for somebody to go and just say those things. And that's what's important to me, because if I'm gonna be of service, and we're just using the word that, to me it's ceremony. If I could go
Yeah.
somewhere and do ceremony, I'm gonna go do it. It doesn't have to be in a sweat lodge or a roundhouse. It could be anywhere we create a circle. Just when you start that thought, right? I'm gonna go do Red Road tonight. That's when you start ceremony. So that to me is an honor for people to say, hey, come on over here and do this Red Road. Oh, I love ceremony. You know what I mean? This is where I get, it takes me, I don't have to worry about anything else in the world. I know what I'm doing. So to me, it's a ceremony. That's what Red Road means to me. And I do it for the people that need it, but I tell my story so they can hear it and like, oh, either it's similar or it's close, or maybe it can help somebody, and that's why
Yeah.
I do it.
And people see you and they hear your story and they know you're a real person. They know you're real and they know you're genuine, and they can, I mean, not relate or whatever, into your story. And that is motivating to, like you said, to these next generations, to see someone like you saying, yeah, we don't need to drink, we don't need to do these things. We can practice our culture, and we can practice, and we can strive, and we can continue. Because on our res, it was like a cool thing to get drunk. It was a cool thing, and that started like my flow into like partying, and then it got worse and worse, and then I had the drug addiction to coke and stuff. You know what I mean? So like that drove me into those things, and I've been a year and 10 months now, or 9 months. So
Oh,
seeing people like you do it is motivating to me, because at one point in time, like I saw people like you out there partying, like at the softball tournaments or whatever. You know what I mean? Like this is what we do. This is how we do it. It's not an addiction. It's just how we do it. Until I started like going to therapy and started talking to people, and like actually like it's a problem the way I do it. And I just want to spread the love of sobriety, because it's once I changed my mind, and like like you said, just went into it, I'd never want to go back.
And let me just say this: it's a behavior, right? It's a learned behavior from our people that we grew up around, our social circles, right? And that's what we need to recognize. Like, that's a behavior. Now, do I like that behavior? No, I don't like the consequences of this behavior because it lands me in prison. So that's the aha moment I get. So when I give it to somebody else, I'm not saying I'm gonna turn them into being a sober. I'm just giving them that seed. So when they figure out that day, oh, I don't like this feeling anymore. It always happens, right? You know, that's the seed. Like, look, it's a behavior. Step away from that behavior. Like, give that behavior back to that person that taught you, and you learn something new. You know what I mean? I'm trying to show you something new. And that's what I'm doing. I'm showing you something. I show you, like, I've been out of prison 3 years, right? This is my 4th year. I have 2
Yeah.
homes.
Congratulations.
I have 2 homes. I have a car. I got jobs. I never thought I'd be on boards. All the boards that I'm on. I'm on my own council board, right? You know, I'm being what I thought I used to dream I could do, but I stopped myself from doing it. You know, because of all the behaviors that I was taught. But as soon as somebody said those are behaviors, you know, you could stop that behavior, and that's when I changed my life. You know, and you know, I'm not exempt. I still have problems, but I learned to deal with it differently now. That's the thing. Nothing's peachy and cream, right? Nothing is. But I just don't deal with it the same way I used to before. And that's something that's important to the next person to learn. Like, no matter where you go, you're always going to have problems. Just quit running from them, right? I didn't run from them. I came right back to this same spot and started over. And I love my life. I love to wake up every morning. You know, I love to, you know, see nature. You know, my biggest thing that I try to teach people is look for the little things that are right in front of you. You know what I mean? Just being able to open your front door and see the sun or the rain or clouds or feeling the coldness or the heat, you know, of outside, listening to the birds, you know what I mean? Appreciate those things, you know, and that's what's important to me, you know, to start out my day that way, you know, have that routine, you know, don't falter from your routine, because if we start bringing our own agendas back again, it don't work for us. It don't work for us. And, you know, and I'm glad you bring this up because, you know, maybe we can reach somebody, you know, us too, you know, be having this, and you'll keep it, you know, you'll keep it on your post. I'll keep it on mine. And then maybe somebody will watch it and say, you know what, I'm going to go reach out to those guys, you know, and that's why we do it. That's why I say these things, you know, in hopes that, you know, we can reach at least one person, you know, we might reach more, you know, but yeah. And I think the next one is a youth advocacy.
Yeah. And then, like you said, though, is hopefully this is the seed planted in that one person.
Yeah.
So yeah, youth advocacy, and this is the like you said, the 7 generations coming out. It's huge. This is huge for us. I wish I had people like you coming in my neighborhood and speaking and doing things like this. So like this is very important for us to continue doing. So like definitely speak about your youth advocacy.
I'll just say this because it's my passion, right? I know how it is not to be wanted. When I was young, I know how it is to be pushed out of my house and not able to come home until the street lights and you go straight to bed. I know how it feels to be hungry and be taught you to never ask, you know, if we don't have it, you don't need it. Don't ask nobody for nothing. You know, I know how all those things feel, right? I know what abuse feels like. I know what watching everybody being negatives like. I know what having people feeling sorry for you are like. I even know what sexual abuse feels like, you know, by the church, you know. So, you know, I have no shame. I'm vulnerable. I just don't do it because I need to save. I don't need anybody else to go through that. And that's where my heart is when it comes to youth. The youth are super important because we don't understand them. We don't let them talk. We don't listen to them. I'm not saying everybody does. I'm just saying that I remember not being listened to. Oh, you don't have nothing important to say. Why are you even talking? Why are you, what did they used to say? It's none of your business, right? It's none of your business. I grew up like that, right? But, you know, I had important things that were in my mind, you know, in my heart. And, you know, I just wanted to be, you know, I just wanted to be part of it. You know, I'm not saying that I gave up, but I just wanted to be a part of, you know, the family. I wanted to be a part of the society, you know, and I'm just saying, you know, I went through things, but I don't feel that the youth nowadays have to go through that. I don't feel that, because I feel like me as a human being, or let's just say, the label a man or a leader, or, an advocate, we have to live that. We have to live by, okay, if a child reaches out to me, I'm going to sit and listen. I had when I first started doing the youth advocacy, that we did a survey, and the survey said this: the number one issue that they have is we don't give them time. The number two issue thing is we don't listen to them. The number three issue they had was we don't play sports with them, and number four was we don't teach them culture the way they need them to, for us to go. Because I remember it's like everybody said, well, you need to learn culture growing up, right? Okay, well, who's going to teach me, right? And and there was few and far from being taught. And I learned from Dave Smith and Clarence Carrillo, Barbara Grauman, Maria Treviso. Those were the ones that took us aside and said, look, we're going to do dancing over here. We're going to learn songs. You're going to be a rock man one day. And then all of a sudden, like, things changed, right? Things changed. And I felt comfortable in my culture. I learned songs. I knew what Indian humor was. That was big and important, because
Uh-oh. Oh, my bad.
to me, was the fact that, I got to use 1,000 muscles and didn't even know it when I smiled, and that's what culture gave to me. You know what I mean? Instead of, anyway, so having the youth tell me those things kind of hurt my feelings. It brought me back to my youth, and like, what wasn't I getting? And I was like, I can't have that for the youth that are out there nowadays. So I said, let me go listen to them. Let me go sit and let me have this little group. And I started doing youth groups, right? And then I was like, let's see, I challenged myself. Let's see what happens when you do the 5, 6, and 7, 8-year-old. That's hard, right? Because it's harder to spend time and get them to put down their walls. But I did it. I challenged myself and I did it. And I'm not saying I succeeded, but I did it to where those youth actually opened up. And I was so amazed. I was so amazed about the responses they had. I was so amazed of the things, that how important things were to them, how they felt about things. And I was like, I remember I didn't have that. I wasn't allowed to express myself like that. In the pandemic helped me out. Doing Zoom with the youth was awesome. Teaching them things, having them sit down, having a brother, sister on the same Zoom fight over some things, it was beautiful to me. And that's where I was like, this is, and I asked my elder, and I was like, what is the 7th generation? And they're like, this is the 7th generation. This is your time to shine. This is your time to teach. This is your time to give all your support to them, because we're going through the worst thing possible. Is we're being negative to what the children are going through. Let me explain that to you. So we get upset at them being on the video. We get upset being them on the phones. But who enabled all that? We did. Right?
Yeah.
We're getting upset of all these things, that children are being less responsive. We don't get to spank or discipline them like we used to. But there's a reason for all these things, because things are changing. Now, if we keep being negative about these things with the children, we're not going to get nowhere, right? We're just going backwards again. So my theory is this: I am going to find a way to listen to them and promote what's going to happen for the next generation. Because one thing is consistent, is change in the world. Generations change. It's different than 100 years ago, right? Guess what? The next 100 years is going to be different from us. So something's happening that we need to understand and open our minds. And that's just me. I need to open my mind to see what's going on, so I can promote healthiness. I can promote stability for them. I can promote culture, tradition, and give them everything that I went through in my life. That's where I come from when it comes to youth. And so I do everything I can. And one of the other things they said is we don't have nothing to do on the weekends. Well, you know what? I'm going to create something, because there's people out there that want to help you guys, so, it was awesome. We put this, not we, and I thank Gabriel Martinez for putting together a group called the Community Group Leaders. They called us on it. They're like, you guys claim you're leaders in this community. Well, what are you doing about these issues? right? And the first one was overdose. You know, the pills in our community, right? Can't have youth doing it. Oh, we're totally against it. But then as soon as the funeral happens, we totally forget about awareness about it. We totally forget about these things, right? It's like it goes back to the back burner. And then I met these wonderful people on there. They're like, no. And I was like, we need to not forget about what's going on in our community. We need to keep promoting what we need to do in order to create awareness prevention at any cost. You know, and it shouldn't cost us much. It should be just our time. And so I met these beautiful people on there that we got this circle. And, you know, I never knew a lot of them. I didn't know a lot of them, but now I do. And they have the same passion that I have for the youth. And so we created these big times, right? We created the big times where teach culture, we play sports, we give them the best, you know, and I'll give the biggest props to Diana Billy Elliott, because she cares just as much for our community. When she gives gifts to the kids, they're not simple gifts. They're not like a little toy or nothing. No, we give the best to those youth. You know, TVs, whatever, laptops, computers. Thank you to all the tribes that help out, right? You know,
Yeah.
and all you got to do is have time to make these things happen. And so it's important for me to continue these things. It's important, and I'm not throwing a promotion, but I'm hoping that on October 30th, it's called Halloween Eve or Fall Festival or whatever it's supposed to be called. We're not done locking it in, but we're going to bring back the times. Do you ever remember when Consolidated used to have dances or events for the youth when we were younger? I do.
Yeah.
They were one of the most important places that I used to do, and I want to bring those back because it was somewhere for us to be sober. It was somewhere for us to be clean. It was somewhere for us to learn family values and meet new people. And that's what we're trying to do. So we're gonna try to grab the Alex Thomas Plaza and have it in an open. DJ contests, bull riding, face painting, picture booth, everything we can for the youth and the families. It's not just for you and the families, because we need to bring back togetherness, right? We're going to do it the best way we can possible, even with COVID. It doesn't matter to me. I'm not saying we got lucky with all the other events, but we do practice, you know, social distancing, hand sanitizer, all that. But you got to figure out a way to get these things done, no matter what, at any cost, you know. And I appreciate my group that we have: Katie Ray, you know, Darletta Fullwilder, you know, Haley Plow, Gabe Ray, Kevin Billy, Miguel Gonzalez. Like, it's beautiful, you know. And I wouldn't be at this platform if it wasn't for them, you know, believing in the same thing as us. Go ahead.
Is there a Facebook group or Instagram that everybody can follow you guys or
Working on
like that? Okay. Cause
We've been working on it for a while.
Yeah, this platform is that for that too. So once you guys get everything like that locked in, I'll promote it on my Instagram and stuff like that too, for sure, to get it out there.
Perfect.
Because this is what that platform is too, to enhance Native voices, enhance Native events and stuff like that too. So you know what I mean? I love to support. I love to attend too.
Perfect.
Yeah. That'd be super dope. So you've been talking about culture, and you know, you said the Red Road is like a ceremony. Is there anything else that you practice of your culture? Like you said, you learned from Dave Smith and Clarence Carrillo, and those are people I learned from too when I was a little kid and I fell off. But yeah, just anything about them and about your culture that you've learned and you like to pass on.
Please don't say you fell off, because it's still in you. You know, you got to watch how you talk about yourself. I'm sorry. You know, you're going to be back.
Yeah.
I'll call you out on it.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I need to get back into it. You know what I mean? Because like I said, the alcohol kind of took over and took me on a path that wasn't any of this. You know what I mean? So now I'm getting back to who I am and who I want to be.
Right. So when it comes to culture, yes, I am all in on the culture, right? And we could talk about different ways of practicing culture, but I'll just say this: culture cures. Okay, and that's the new theme. You know, you got to really believe in the culture is going to cure you. You know, and let me just tell you, my elders are saying, they say, get back to the language. Get back to the language as you're learning culture, because that'll give you stability to have a better connection to creator. You know, I'm just saying that for me, that's how I feel about it. You know, so the language is super important to me, you know, because maybe I could communicate, but you know, and that this is what we're doing, we're being real on here, right? So I think that's super important for people to get back to the language. You know, practice it, look it up. You know, today I put out there, like, here's a tool that's on the internet that you guys could find. It's got its own website where you can learn some words, right? So that's what we need to do, is promote those words again, because every different tribe practices culture, but in different ways. So
Yeah.
find that tribe that you want to learn from, the people you're comfortable with, and learn from them and believe in it. You know, believe in that roundhouse, believe in that sweat lodge, whatever it is, just believe in something. I have no, I have no judgment of nobody. Wherever you need to go, wherever you need to go to learn to get that connection between you and creator, and so you could be comfortable in life, and every decision that you make, that's what my hopes are for everybody. You know, and culture cares. And our new thing now is starting the fresh fire again, because you know, we got to have, in order to be productive in today's society, you got to have a theme, right? Culture cures, you know, fresh fire, you know, something that revolves around, you know, catching attention from the youth and even the people my age, right? So my thing is, you know, creating that fresh fire again, right? And that's our theme for our youth group, is like, we're going to start that fire and we're going to get it big again, to where everybody feels the medicine from that fire. And that's just how we feel. You know, sometimes we look at fire a negative way, but you know, the fire is one of the elements of life. You know, so is
Yeah.
water. Water is sacred. You know, go find out what water is about. You know, water is one of those molecules you can't destroy. You know, it's stronger than most anything in this earth. You know, water is the wind. You know, Mother Earth, take care of her. You know, what is the sun and the moon? You know, part of these, you know, are, you know, animals. Like, go find those, you know, find something and believe in it. You know, and that's for me, that's what I do. You know, I find something that interests me and I will go all the way. You know, I had to find the reasoning for things, and that's important to me. So yeah, definitely when it comes to culture, find your place, where any tribe it is, find your place and just practice it and give it a chance. You know what I mean? Go 2 feet in, take a healthy
Yep.
risk. You know, and that was something I learned a long time ago at the wellness conferences growing up. Take a healthy risk. And I was like, what is a healthy risk? And I'm like, you take bad risks all the time, right? Yeah, no, I don't do that no more. I take healthy risks. But yeah, that's how I feel about culture.
Yeah. So do you still sing, and do you like do stuff like that?
Oh man, do I sing? Yes, I sing. Yes, I love to sing, and a lot of times, when I go to cultural events, when I go to gatherings, I'm usually like, somebody, oh, there's priest, you know, like, ask him to hold rock. It's an honor. It's an honor
Yeah.
for anybody to ask me to do something, right? You know, when I come around now, somebody's like, oh, there's priest, you know, ask him to burn the medicine, start the medicine. You know, it's an honor. Feel blessed. You know what I mean? That people see you in a different light. You know, and that's what it's about. You know, take that risk. You know what I mean? Just go in there. It's, you know, it's, we stop ourselves from a lot of things in our mind, right? You know, we have conversations with ourselves, but who are we having a conversation with? You know, sometimes, you know, I was taught it's creator talking to me. You know, that's creator telling you, you know, you could do this or you could do that. You know, but now I make better decisions, and I'm not saying that, you know, life is the best it could be, but I know it's better than it was yesterday. And that's what it means to me, that, you know, I did better today than I did yesterday, and I know tomorrow I'll wake up and I could do it even better than today. You know, and that's what I love to teach. You know, if you ever sit on my groups, oh man, like, that's all I do. Like, I could put a whole bunch in 1 hour and people are like, wait, you know, like, you know, just speak from your heart, right? And I have this
Yeah.
theory, like,
Yeah.
you know, I don't need a platform, I don't need a script. I'll speak right from my heart. You know, I say, shoot it from the hip, right? You know,
Yeah.
that's just what we do.
Shoot it straight from the
Let's
hip.
go.
And yeah, you're a straight motivation, man. This short conversation that we've had, and this is the first time I met you. I'm incredibly motivated, and I definitely want to follow your story, and I definitely want to join in on one of those groups, man, if I'm able. Yeah, man, you have an incredibly motivating story, and I know when people told me, I was getting excited about it, and hearing you talk, man, is awesome. I definitely want to hear you talk in person. I definitely want to hear you sing in person. All these things for sure, man, because you can feel it when you talk, and I'm definitely taking a lot away from this just one conversation. You know what I mean?
Thank you.
So yeah, I just want to move in on your feelings and thoughts about recent sports teams taking down their sports names like the Redskins and the Indians and stuff like that.
So everything changes, right? So I used to, and I have to be honest because then, I'm telling the youth a lie, right? So I used to like him, but when I learned what really derogatory the statements were, I really appreciate people making movements. It's not as fast as we want it to be. It's definitely not as fast, but it's going to happen. Things are going to change. We're going to take away this stigma of the names of the things. We're going to stop promoting that. I just seen a post probably like I think it was like 2 weeks ago or something, like those are are ceremonies. Don't those you could make bad juju out of those things, right? Having those. So that's not what I want to do. I had to listen to the teaching from what I was going through. What made an aha moment for me, right, was listening to somebody that had enough audacity to put that on Facebook, because that was important to him to say on the platform. And that's what I'm all about. I have no problem putting it on here. I have no problem just being a part of, long as it's fair to everybody, then I'm in. Long as we don't forget about somebody, then I'm in. I don't do these things for one side. I do it because everything should be taught fair and equal in our community. But yeah, I'm definitely appreciative that it's going away. I used to wear the logos, but I'm weeding myself out also, because that's our culture. That's our ceremony. Those pictures are our ceremony, and they're, we could find other pictures, right? We could use other names. So why not, right? So that's how I feel about that.
Yeah, and it gives people a negative character, like we're a character, a cartoon or something. You know what I mean? It's not a good representation of who we are. And like you said, it's a derogatory name. So it's definitely good that people are making steps forward, and it definitely took way longer, because people were protesting about this back in the 60s and 70s. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it's all about money, and it's and none of these teams are even like that have these names are even connected to any tribes, or aren't even connected to any, like, just raising awareness about any tribes or any tribes around them. So it's definitely it's definitely good to start changing those names for sure.
Right.
And I think that was the last question I had for you, unless you had any other topics you wanted to bring up, any other youth projects you have, any projects that you have coming up that you want to promote.
Where are we at in time?
I think I haven't kept track of time, to be honest. But I think we're good.
We're good. Okay. So here's something else that is super important, right? Is you don't give up on somebody, right? I just want to reiterate this, to everybody that's out there. We're all human beings. And everything that was taught to us before, we might utilize those things or use them as a protective way of getting through society, but we cannot give up on them. If they're not ready, they're not ready, but you just can't give up on somebody. And I don't like when we downgrade each other. I want to empower our people. Empower. I want to be able to laugh with somebody and be genuine. And that's what we need to bring back, is that word being genuine. We got to bring back beliefs. We got to bring back values. We got to bring back, what is family value to you? And we have all these seminars that we learn, all these curriculums that we learn, all these things. And are we utilizing them though? Are we really utilizing them? At some point we need to take that platform, and we need to also teach our children in school what real history is. We need to fight that fight. We need to go to the school districts. We need to tell them that this is important to us as a culture. And, you know, we put up with it long enough. And I'm being serious.
Yeah.
We put up with their school teachings long enough, you know, and we have all these tidbits out here on Facebook, like here's teaching, but it should be taught in school, you know. And it's also important that, you know, our youth learn the laws in school, because when they grow up and they don't know, you know, and they have this rule, like, you know, if you don't know the law, you still got to abide by it, right? You know what I mean? Yeah,
Yeah.
it's, I forgot the Latin word that they come up with it, but we need to get teaching. In order to survive in society, they need to learn to know. We need to teach them what not to do. We need to teach, you know, what real history is. We need to teach with languages in our schools. If they're going to, I'm not saying force us to be in those schools. I'm just saying that that's where we're going to school, but at least allow us to have that platform to learn everything about our culture, learn everything about our family values and everything that has to do with that. So that's another thing that needs to happen. And I'm hoping through this platform that we could get more people to talk about these things, you know, talk about the issues. And my two issues are this: youth, they don't have to go through things anymore, right? My other thing is youth, they have to be taught differently in schools. And that's what I want to put out there, is that, you know, I think Lake, Soma, and Mendocino County are going to fight real hard for this to happen. I don't know when's going to happen. I know things take a while to happen, but it's got to start. And you know, if you guys need help and support, give us a call. You know, give me a call and we'll work through this. You know, same thing with cutting down, like Michael Hunter brought up, the cutting down of, they're saying they're clear cutting because of fires in the Jackson Forest, right? Another issue.
Yeah.
I don't want these issues to die. These issues need to be put back up there. They need to be, we need to keep talking about these. We need to go get prepared, educate ourselves, and figure out a way, you know, not just be angry about it, figure out a way so we could fix it. Okay. And that's what
it.
I'm all about. That's what I'm all about. All these issues that we have out there, the MMIW, right? What are we going to do? We're going to teach our children never to be that way. We need to stop that we need to stop all our issues at the root of our issues. And so that's what, you know, everything I've been taught, you know, I've been taught by very beautiful people, great teachers, the good and bad. And I appreciate them. And I just want to tell my community, thank you for believing in me. You know, because you look what you guys started. I'm just kidding. And that's all I do, you know. Yeah, no, for reals, you know. And we might feel like we need more than just us, but it might take us to change something so the other ones could come and make it easier for them. You know, I believe in planting that foundation, that concrete for the next generation, so it's safe, right? We don't want our children to have a hard time in life. I don't. You know, I want my children to live the best of their ability, you know, at their ability. Not mine, not my personal agenda, but at theirs, but the safest possible. All right. And so that's pretty much the last two topics that are super important to me.
Awesome. Those are amazing topics, man. It's the school is huge, man. And I believe defunding the police and relocating all that money into our school funding, because our school system is not, it's not great. I went through it and I didn't learn a lot, and I didn't, like you said, I didn't learn the right history for sure. So what else are we learning that's not right? And we're not preparing our kids for the future and for being adults. Like you said, nobody knows the law. We don't know any of these laws that we're supposed to abide by when we get to being adults, but we're supposed to abide by them. So it's like those are super important things, and we're supposed. And I truly believe in educating ourselves and getting involved in these spaces that they don't want us in. So like everything that you're doing is being in a space that they don't want us in. They don't want us having these voices. They don't want us having these conversations right now, and that's what I want to continue doing.
Keep doing it.
And
I'll support you.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you, man. And on that note, I want to say two names, and that's Khadijah Britton and Nicole Smith before we go, because their names need to be put out there and put in the media. And I want to put as much as possible our women's names, and like you said, protect our women. And it starts with us. If we can teach people to protect them after us, and then hopefully we can change a lot of minds, man.
Okay.
And thank you so much for joining me, and thank you for the conversation. You you sent me away with so much, man. And I'm gonna put this on Facebook, and I'm gonna put it on YouTube too, and then it's gonna be on Instagram as well.
I don't want to be on YouTube. No, I'm just kidding.
If you don't want me to put it on, I won't put it on there.
I'm teasing. I'm teasing. That's it. Indian humor.
And like you said, we need to bring that back. And I was gonna say we need to bring that back, that Indian laugh too, because that thing is beautiful, man.
Yes, it is.
All right, thank you so much for joining me, man.
Got you.
All right, see ya. And if you know anybody that wants to join me too, or wants to come on and share their love and share their stuff on my platform, definitely send them my way.
Okay. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you, everyone that joined on Burn the Wagon today. This is going to be posted on Facebook and then Instagram and then YouTube as well. So please go follow Burn the Wagon on Instagram, and peace and love.